Hello, my name is Bob423, and I have a question to ask. How would you like to have a path to follow down the ICW all the way from Norfolk, Virginia, down to Fort Lauderdale in Florida? The path follows the deepest water through all the hazards, and it's available in 4 segments, free for downloading. Let's go over just what it requires. I might ask you to break out your iPad and follow along as we progress. You see in front of you Acromap, and there's a blue dotted line showing the length of that ICW track. It can be very handy to follow when you're going through shallow sections of the ICW. To start, I'm going to change over to Safari to demonstrate how to load this track. And what you do at first is you go to a website you see at the top there, ibmicw.blogspot.com, and you see Bob423 ICW Tracks and Routes. And there's a variety of pages underneath, and we'll click on the one that says Bob423 Long Tracks there at the bottom. Here you see the 4 tracks that are listed that will guide you down the ICW for the deepest water. We load these one at a time just to show you how to do it. First, we'll load the 423 Norfolk to Southport 11-13-20 track. And you click on it, one touch. Do you want to download? Just say yes, just tap on download. And what you get in the upper right hand corner, you have a down arrow and a circle. Tap it. And you see underneath that that's the download that you just tapped. 423 Norfolk to Southport. Now you tap on that title. Up comes a screen that shows a bunch of text on the left hand side. Ignore it. And tap the upper right hand corner with the up arrow inside a box. Now you get a list of the apps that can take this track. We're going to be using Acromap, but you could also be using Navionics. It loads to both of those apps. I'll tap on Acromap. And it's loading it right now. These are long tracks, and it may take a few seconds to get fully loaded. It also depends on the speed of your internet connection. Found one track, you want to import them, then to archive. Tap on import. And there you go. Acromap is now ready to follow that first track. Let's go back to Safari. And we'll load the other track. Now on this page you're done. Hit done. And we'll go down to paragraph number 3. 423 Southport to Savannah. 01-02-21. Tap on that. Tap it. Here we go. Download. And then hit the arrow, down arrow, and Southport to Savannah, tap on that, and then tap the upper right hand corner with the up arrow inside a box, and then tap on Acromap. And you get a circle as the thing's being loaded. I'm using the internet here at Titusville, and it's kind of slow. Hit import, and that's number 2 loaded. Let's go back, we'll load number 3, hit Safari, hit done, because that was the previous track. And now we'll do number 4, 423 Savannah to Titusville. Tap on that, download, yes. and hit the down arrow. Savannah to Titusville. Tap on that. Upper right hand corner, tap on the up box with the up arrow. And tap on Aquamap. There we go. And these take a minute to, now if you tap on Navionics instead of Aquamap, you might have to wait 1 to 2 to 3 minutes for it to load. That's a lot of data points. But eventually Navionics will load the route. You just have to be patient. Hit import. Okay, that's the third one. Let's go back and now hit Safari. You're done with it. And hit, we do number 5, which is Titusville to Fort Lauderdale. Download. Now hit the down arrow. Titusville to Fort Lauderdale. Tap on that. And hit the up arrow. And Aquamap. And we're waiting for that to load. Hit import. Okay, now I've loaded the entire track from North Fork, Virginia. Actually, it starts at Hampton, down all the way to Fort Lauderdale. I'm moving the map with a single finger touch. Now let's look at what that may give you. I'm going to go to the bottom right hand corner, go to surveys, and go to 3 years. Okay. And it guides you down through the middle. And you start seeing the US ACE surveys that shows the depth along those that track. And you'll notice that the blue line is pretty much right in the middle. Now on this part of the ICW, there's not a lot of hazards. But what does happen is that it gets kind of narrow in places. And so it's good to be centered right in the middle, because some of these buoys, like 111, is sitting right on top of a shoal. And you don't want to get too close to them. And the line takes you right down the middle. See, all these green ones are right inside the shoal. If you are going from buoy to buoy and thinking you got to hug 115 to 113 along the way, you will go around. So not much hazards up here. Let's keep going down. I'm going to shrink it, but with a 2-finger pinch. We're going down down through Alligator River. And here's another place some people had trouble last fall, because these markers, 46, 52, 49, are far apart. And if you deviate too much, you're right into 5-foot water very quickly. So the blue dotted line goes right down the middle. Let's keep going down the ICW here. We're flying like an aircraft at high speed. All you do is just move it. And now we're coming across down towards Beaufort. And here you see, coming through some areas, here's the area where it's confusing for a lot of first-time ICWs. You're coming to an area where the ICW goes to the right, and there's another channel that goes into Beaufort. And there's a lot of buoys in there, and the blue line tells you how to stay on the ICW. And we're going by Morehead City. And a lot of areas here by 10A where you see the blue line takes a little snake through there to make sure it keeps right in the deepest water. You can deviate and lose like 3 to 4 feet almost immediately. But if you follow the blue line, no big problem. So let's continue on our trek south at high speed here. That's Swansboro. And here's Brown's Inlet. Now that's in the process of being dredged, or going to be very soon. You have to be careful here because that's continuing to shoal in. The blue line is the latest path through there, but still may be quite shallow until they get it dredged. And we continue onward. And another area to watch out for is right in the middle there, where it shows 5.7. People have reported down to 5 feet. And that continues to shoal. The blue line is the deepest path through. And we get famous New River. And that's being dredged as we speak. Continuing on south in our rapid high-speed airplane, not much happening. 99A, you can see how that's getting very narrow by 99A, topsail inlet. And in order to get through there, you got to follow the blue line faithfully, not only by 99A, but also down by their area and there, because it's not a straight path. And a lot of people run into aground when they get too close to 99A. So continuing downward towards Carolina Beach, not a lot of problems. A couple areas you got to avoid by Masonboro. If you just go in the ICW, you're going to run into like 6 feet, actually down to 5 feet. You see a 5 there at that point right there. But you go outside it, it's not a problem. And you also see a very shallow area here down to about 6 feet. And going down towards the beach, that's narrow there, so you got to stay in the middle. And now we're down towards South Carolina Beach. I'm going through Snow's Inlet. You swing wide to avoid all that mess in there. And then towards the western side of Snow's Cut, you go through a little solemn course to avoid shoaling that's coming in from both sides. Blue line shows you just how to do it, including right here by 172A. People have gone aground there also by getting too close to the red side. And now we're going down Cape Fear River and down to Southport. And the first interesting area, actually the one before it, now we're coming into Lockwood Folly. Here's the approach. And there's a Lockwood River coming in from the north, and it's producing shoaling in there. And if you're not careful, you can run into 5.2 depth and mingled water depth right there. The blue line takes you through as best it can. And there's the shoreline to get you through Lockwood Folly, which is now buoyed, so it's not a problem. And you go on to the next one, which is Shallow, which is right here. And you got to thread the needle. You see you're getting down to 5 feet, 6 feet, and this one is kind of an old survey. Let's tap it and see what it is. See, the date of survey was 9/2/2020, so it's already, what, 4 or 5 months old. So you can expect that survey to be, the survey depths to actually be worse than what you see there. But nonetheless, the blue line takes you through the deepest part. Okay, moving onward. Not much to be concerned with here. You're going through the rock pile, but that's not a problem. Just stay in the middle. And we're going to follow this all the way down to Georgetown. And now we're getting into Menham Creek on the way to Charleston after Georgetown. And all this has been dredged. So all you do here is stay in the middle. This used to be a tear down through here, but it's all been dredged. No worries. And no worries there, just would avoid some of the shoaling. Now, McClellanville's been dredged, but you see there are parts of it that are starting to shoal already. And right here, it takes a change to avoid some of that shoaling. And also you see shoaling here, up in here, where it's down to 5.3 feet or 5 feet or 6 feet. And it goes down to the south here to avoid it. The blue line does that. So there's a little bit, it's not just going down the middle of McClellan, even though it's been dredged, you can't just go down through the middle of McClellanville because the shoaling is starting to happen. The blue line will take you through the deepest part. And continuing onward, all that is no problem. There's a little bit of a shoaling right here in the red that the blue line avoids. And onward, getting towards Charleston. And you see this famous area. If you go down right through the middle, you get about 5.86 feet, which if you draw, it's 5 feet, it's not a problem. If you draw 6 feet, there happens to be a drain tide and the wind's out of the west, it could get a little shallow. So the blue line takes a path that gets you about 7.5, 8 feet all the way. So onward it goes. Now we're getting to Isle of Palms eventually. And here we go. Isle of Palms also was dredged, and it's got some interesting stuff happening. There's this little finger coming in of 5.2, so the blue line goes around it and avoids it, and it goes down to avoid that area and up around and avoids that area, just to give you the most leeway possible. And we're going through Charleston now, and we're continuing onward, and nothing to report here, except we get down to this area by the river. I'm going to switch over to only showing the last 1.5 years instead of 3 years. Surveys, you see 3, let's go to 1.5. That means we're wiping out the old surveys. What you see now is the most recent survey. The blue line, as you can see, follows it right down the line, and you got at least 9.1 feet all the way. Continue onward. It avoids a little area there of shoaling, and it does as best it can through Watts Cut. If you want to find out what's happening at Watts Cut, just look at Watts Cut shoaling, and you'll see an explanation of just what the depths are on the latest survey and experience. So going down, the next point of interest is Fenwick Cut, and there's some shoaling, but you go down the middle, you're fine. Likewise for Ashpoo. And again, if you want to see detail, just click on that. And it gives you a map, and the map shows you just what to expect. And we're coming through, and you see we are avoiding some of the worst of the shoaling by taking a path that looks like an S-curve through there. After many tries, I finally settled on it to find the best water. And then we're going further along, and you'll see here that we're avoiding shoaling, which may not be apparent. But if you look at the old settings, we're going to go to 3.3 years now. You can see where they're shoaling on one side, and we're getting away from it by going over to the green side. And further down. Now we're headed just further south, This is a continual on the ICW. And the fish, Allen. Oh, here's a famous one. There's two buoys, 39 and 40, that show a narrow path through. Looks like there's been shoaling on the red side, and the blue line takes a path that gives you about 7 or 8 feet. If you want to see the latest thing, again, just hit the arrow, and it's down to 8 feet if you follow that. If you follow the other side, you get down to 4.6 feet. And so on, it goes on down towards this cut. And you see here, you're going in an area that's not even surveyed. So why do you do that? Well, you do it because that way you get almost 10 feet of water. And furthermore, if you look at other areas that are further along, the rest of the cut through Fenwick, or Fields Cut, is not a problem. Just follow the blue line and you'll see like 15 to 20 feet all the way. Elba Allen Cut, don't go straight down the middle of the channel. Swing outside and you'll have no problem. And we continue down towards Savannah. No problem. Isle of Hope up there. And going through Hellgate is, you'll see about 7 feet. It was initially dredged about 14, 15 feet, but Hellgate is down to about 7 feet in spots. Still no problem. We take a little detour at the end here to make sure we're over towards the green side to avoid a buried pipe that runs through there that they were afraid to dig any deeper on during the dredge. And we're going onward, heading further south, no big deals, and onward, 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 including one of my favorite anchorages at Crescent River. And we continue, and of course there's Mud River. What can you say about Mud River? There's no way through it. So you're seeing 6.2 feet, 4.6, 3.6. Mud River gets a little shallow, so you ought to have some tide when you go through it. But you see it deviates by 196 to take the side of 195, which is a little deeper than over there than by 196. Again, that's found by trying different routes. One time I tried 196, not so good, so I tried 195, and it was better. And of course we avoid 208. We also avoid getting too close to 206 and 204. Just follow the blue line. And we don't follow the range markers. That's a disaster. You go outside them. This area here shows up in AquaMap as a lot of red, but it's all been dredged. And USACE has not resurveyed it yet. So there's still a problem with the survey, but you go right down the middle, no problems. The detail on that will tell you that the dredging has been completed and shows there's no problem, in case you want to have a confirmation. And downward we go. And Jekyll is going to be a problem. I think it's down to about 6 feet. Again, if you're a little unsure, all you do is tap on that and you'll get what the depths are all the way along, with at least being 6.3 feet, provided you follow the line. It's not much room for error. But if you follow the blue line, you can see 6.3 feet. And this goes out headed towards further south. And we wind up at Fernandina Beach. And we go through what used to be a problem with shallows, but that was dredged a few years back. But the part that was dredged was the part outlined by the blue dotted line. Again, if you want to see detail, tap on that. And it'll show detail. Map hasn't come up yet. That's the wrong one, sorry. Here's the detail up here on top. Here we go. And the least seen, it's about 8 feet on me low water. So not a problem if you follow the line. If you don't follow the line, you can run into 6 and 7 feet pretty quickly. You'll notice the blue line appears to be off the map here. That's because the chart is wrong. The blue line is the true center of the channel, which you can tell because you see it 13 sitting in the middle of the channel. That's a problem with NOAA, not a problem with Acromap. NOAA just hasn't updated this part of the chart. Then you get through some pretty narrow places, about 6 feet if you follow the line. Again, if you want detail, you do a tap, and you see just what to expect. So forth, also through this area, which looks deceptively easy. It is not. And so forth. This was just dredged. And also through Sawpit Creek. All these places have a mark. You hit it, and you'll see just what to expect. What could be easier? Squeeze it, continue onward, and this shows how to get through the area of the entrance to Pablo Creek by Jacksonville. Just follow the blue dotted line. Onward, onward, onward. And we'll continue. Here we're coming into St. Augustine. No problems. And no problems. And it got me into Matanzas. It's been dredged, although they are pushing you more and more towards the western shore as the shoaling continues. And all this continues. And not much to look at for the rest of the way. Until you come down to into the inlet here, and let's look at the detail. That's a fort, or the Ponce de Leon. 2 and 2A has always been a little narrow spot, but it's not too bad now. Follow the blue line. And this is another area that shoals a lot, but follow the blue line, it'll take you right through the needle, through that. And also further over to the shore than you might think you ought to. You don't want to cut number 20. You're going to run into a shoal there if you do. So go swing wide around. I deviate from the ICW here because this area up on top by New Smyrna is always shoaling. The blue dotted line follows a channel that does not shoal. And we're going to go all the way down to Titusville. And further south. Nothing much happening there, especially if you follow the blue line. Also follow the blue line right through here. That's a chart error, you see. NASA's in the business of updating that, but they haven't done it yet. The ICW really does not end below 142. There's no gap there, even though the map shows one. I know, talking to NOAA, they will be updating this chart over the next month or so. Meanwhile, just follow the blue line. And further down towards the next inlet, this is by Fort Pierce. Don't get too far to the red. The blue line doesn't get too far to the red. Another area here is a little shallow. This is Fort Lyons Bridge, right above the inlet here. Okay. And you gotta be a little careful. I measure 7.3. If it's a drain tide and wind's coming out of the west, I could get down to 6.3, so be careful at low tide. But the blue line shows you the best water. And out of all this, there's only one more thing to be careful of, and that's Jupiter Inlet. You see number 2 there. If you were to follow number 2 coming down from the north, you would think you'd want to keep it to starboard. If you do, you're going to run into 3.4 feet of water, or 4.9 if you go this far out. What you have to do is swing wide around it in order to find the deepest water. If you want to see details on it, you see that mark there that you hit the eye, and there's all kinds of detail. How much water to see. And the rest of the way around the inlet on the way south, a little bit of zigzag to avoid some of the red. You see that survey, but the rest of the way is pretty straightforward. No big deals. And for the moment, it ends down at Fort Lauderdale. So I would recommend loading the 4 tracks. And Acromap, you can make them visible or invisible, so they don't clutter the screen when you don't want them. You can erase them and reload them, all up to you. And you can follow them or not follow them, or do your own thing. And if you get to a tight spot, you might say, well, I see the blue line over there. Maybe I'll go over there and see if there's more water. In most cases, it will be more water. So if you enjoyed this, I'm going to post this on the Facebook page. Let me know what you think and ways to improve it. And there should be more coming in the future. So goodbye for now from Bob423.